Oh my god, yes. Juice. Let's put you here. Got some papers, quite a lot. This is the document number 3 of the foundation level Sovereign Masters Guild course content. So this is quite relevant. I found it by accident whilst I was searching. I have read this out once and put it onto splspro. So if you've seen me cast my net on this channel, on this site, I was on splspro and it's disappeared the video. So I'll do it on Indi Glow, and I've got another camera recording now, so I'm recording it offline as well as that's why I've got these on, as well as now going live. Yeah, I was on the looking at the other 2 documents that we've put together: the claim of right, notice of intent, ecclesiastical canons, language, verbiage, and the trust in itself. Bearing in mind we're going to the York Railway Institute to join the talk there. I forget what it's called now. I'll post it out and I will do a video and put the thumbnail up. So this is about language, it's about trust, the principles, trust law, governance, master servant, slavery. It isn't my document. I was searching keywords on DuckDuckGo and I put in defender faith, Romley, Justinian defender faith, Justinian deception, and I pressed enter, and then I found this document on a WordPress site. So it's not mine, but it's relevant, and you could do with making notes. It will be about an hour. I'll go slow, and I'll read it all in its entirety, and yeah, see what you think. So this is the cherries on the cake for where we are about to go, and how video 1, which was the explanation of how we were trussed up and bonded and put in a trust, the master trust, 1302, 1537, and the popes and the declarations under the doctrine of notices. So we've explained video 2 about courts and civil and you know, prosecution and so forth, and this one is a 3rd document. So we've given you about 60 to 80 pages across 3 documents and 3 videos for the foundation course content, and yeah, then we'll be doing the test part of this later, linking this to splspro account, and then it will be put online. I'll edit this beginning bit off, and it will start something like this. Good evening, welcome to the foundation level video 3 course content for the Sovereign Masters Guild. What we're going to do now is go through the principles of trust law, the governance, being, you know, master servant slavery. Thank you to the Justinian deception who have got this this document will be shared with you. It was found on a WordPress site, so it was in the public domain. I'm going to utilize it on this video today, this evening, and we're going to have an interactive chat later. So what I'll do is I'll do the video, I'll read it, and because I'm live on YouTube, I want to utilize you guys and your thoughts and your input. I realise others are going live and it's a bad time to cast your net and see what you can fish, but hello to the 11, thank you for the 1 thumbs up, peace and love, sisters and bruvs. This article is the result of over 7 years of research in relation to 3 questions that were put to Magistrate Pinder in Queensland, Australia. Please tell me if the sound is all right. That's one good thing I need to know. The way we is, hello sister, gumshoe, how do, and Jesus. All right then. Yeah, to sound good. It was put to the Magistrate Pinder, Queensland, Australia in 2010, relating to the validity of the Queensland driver licence and such deception now extending to many governmental instruments. The three questions put to the magistrate were: number one, why is the name on the driver licence back to front, with the last name first? And question two, what is the all uppercase text, because it does not appear to be any correct form of English text in relation to the Oxford Styles Manual, or Oxford Styles Manual, or you will know it as the Chicago Styles Manual, Australia and America. What Styles Manual did you use in order to construct the Queensland driver licence with the name appearing in the all uppercase text? So, as you can imagine, such questions caused an estoppel in the court because the magistrate refused to answer the questions and the police were warned, never touch me again. A vendetta has been carried out ever since by state police. This research was undertaken in order to find the answers to such questions. Look at this, it's a lot of research. To understand this article is disturbing account to what has been uncovered in relation to such three questions. The government is nothing what you ever assumed. When you assume, you make an ass out of you and me. This is not legal advice. It is just simply an account of the research that may have uncovered to be what appears to be the underlying facts about why magistrates could not answer such questions for fear of exposing the truth about the grammatical standing or lack thereof of international, foreign, corporate, maritime law governance overruling the sovereignty of our common law birthright to our own countries. That's right, common law birthright to our own countries. You wasn't expecting that, was you? The grammatical deception under, if you've got this document, we've just on page 1, the grammatical deception uncovered by this research may very well be hundreds of years old, r.e. Justinian 530 to 560 AD, and may even be a surviving system from the Egyptian masters of slavery and symbolism themselves. Being thousands of years old, the Egyptian system of gods and the dead, such as Osiris, Anubis, Horus, and the like, may still rule over us today via a deception that is more cunning and clever than anyone could ever imagine in their wildest dreams. When we say that, we say the fiction is often easier to believe than the truth. Look at Scotia and how Scotland got its name, and the link to the Egyptian queen that was banished there, I believe. I can't remember her name. And the fact that Anglo-Saxon man's got Egyptian DNA, lots of us, 60% of us, Egyptian DNA. So it's credence to that comment there. The secret foreign sign language hidden in plain sight, aka dog Latin, the poison in the text. It is a poisonous gloss that corrupts the essence of the text. The poison in the text of the glosser is dog Latin. There is no jurisdiction between two separate languages appearing on one document. This is the guts of their deceptive crime. English and dog Latin cannot exist as one. Reference Article 11.147 Chicago Manual of Styles, 16th edition, foreign languages. Dog Latin is the language of the illiterate. It is the Latin all uppercase text usurped into the English descriptive text, appearing under the grammatical rules of descriptive English text, all uppercase symbolic text without the hyphens, and not appearing under the true correct grammatical rules of Latin. In order to deceive the illiterate, being the ignorant masses, it is hidden. It is the hidden secret that destroys the dominion of living man over the land, the sky, the sea, and the thing that creep. Surname Genesis 1.26. Dog Latin is the Babylonian language of the vassal, being the third party debtor of the debtor, vassal of the vessel. It is found on the ledger, tombstones, and by you being attached to it renders the presumption of confirmation, sign that you have sinned. Wow. You are no longer the servant of God, of the God of living man. You have become the servant of the God of the corporation, the servant of the Vatican, the debtor of the debtor. The Vatican holds the souls of the dead, and the dog Latin is the language of the dead. The person and the corporation exist only in the water world of the dead. It has no place on land with the living existence of man. Corporations are ships, as we know and as we've talked about, in dry dock, and their fraud, dog Latin language, is a crime of deception and fraud against living man, or man. Man cannot live in the sea without a ship. You cannot sail on the seas of commerce, without the correct instrumentation. And if you enter into the legal world of commerce, which we would view as maritime jurisdiction as one, you must be able to trust your ship that it holds your estate. If your ship is dogged with corruption, your estate, your cargo, that would be considered in peril. The power of Rome is alive and well in the modern systems of governance, the governance of the citizens of the world today. But is it right? Is it just right and proper, as Andy would say, or is it a system of, Satan himself? I don't say Lucifer, I say Satan. A system of hidden slavery in order to control the masses via a private contracting system, in order to forego true justice, being a system to remove man from the common law of public jurisdiction in order to subject such a man to private foreign contracts in order to forego common law justice without arising suspicion. Sadly, the latter may very well be the correct answer. You recognise that? You've all seen that before, I know. The key, the power of Rome, is nothing but a grammatical deception. Ancient Latin, all uppercase, text is not English. It's that simple. It exists under a different grammatical rule. The official language of foreign Rome is ancient Latin, being illustrative text. English is descriptive text. Mixing the two languages is fraud. That can only be agreed upon. Such writings have no lawful grammatical ability to correspond with each other, and by agreeing to any document that contains the all uppercase text renders you as a trustee of the fraud, the world debtor, the Vatican. You become the foreign citizen of Rome, trustee, slave of the world. Is that you on your driver's license or passport? The power of Rome in relation to modern day governance depends on the hidden grammatical rules of a foreign language usurped into the English language without the common man ever being made aware of such a deceit. London or Rome? London, Israel, the 12 tribes of Israel. Yeah, this is important. Is it real? A question only answered, no, it's not, it is real, yeah, no, just playing with words. A question only answered by a comprehension of the grammatical rules of English and the foreign Latin sign language, used as the official written language of the Roman debtor accounts, language of the debtor. And that's the reference in the document. It's got London or Rome, and it's got a nice little bit of pattern symbology there. City of London, or the ancient Roman city of Londinium. Londinium. The 1 square mile of the foreign city of London sits on top of the original Roman centre of commerce in Great Britain. That's what we're looking at here. You can get this document now by going to splspro.com, if you remember, and looking in the files section, and it's also file number 2 over on the Facebook Trust in the Sovereign Paralegals family. You can go and look in the files and download it now for free of either of those two places. One's a private one, one's a public one. You've got both options to consider. So the 1 square mile of the foreign city of London sits on top of the original Roman centre of commerce in Great Britain, known as the ancient Roman city of Londinium, established in 43 after death. To this day, the City of London is a separate entity to the rest of Great Britain, or the Anglo landmass, acting as the debtor estate of the Western world. If you are a person, a citizen, or employee, you become the debtor trustee of the foreign military accounts of the Roman Empire, administration system, City of London, the Vatican occult. You are no longer assumed living, you are in purgatory. What? Assumed dead, lost at sea. Ah, you become the surname cognomen of Rome. Cognomen of Rome. New word, everybody. It's not a new word, just cognize, cognomen. Is England and its city of London really England, or is it the Roman Empire? And if such a choice exists, what official language controls the Vatican? And if the Vatican holds legal title over England and its so-called Commonwealth, subdivisions, Australia and Canada, etc., is it the English language or is it the official language of Rome, being ancient Latin? Meaning, if you are the holder of any account rendered in ancient Latin, that would be all uppercase symbolic illustrative text with hyphens in between them. You are just a corporate citizen of Rome and no longer a true common law subject of the common aggregate of England and its subdivisions and the English language. Have we been sold out to the foreign Roman military enemy as a trustee or slave? The 12 tribes of Israel going on ships, being sold as slaves. Rebecca, the story of Rebecca, interesting, very interesting. What work's going off on YouTube at the minute? We all seem to be synchronized in different areas but relevantly connected, which is quite scary, to be fair. And some of this may ring true. And yeah, Ezekiel, paragraphs, Genesis, Revelations. It's a revelation thing. Yeah, it really is. So, are you just a corporate citizen of Rome and no longer a true common law subject of the common aggregate of England, or the Anglo landmass, and its subdivisions and the English language? Were you, or have I, been sold out to the foreign Roman military enemy as trustee, slave, or were you ignorant to the greatest grammatical deception ever known in modern history and fell into their trap, deceived by a grammatical masterpiece revived by the Justinian deception and the Roman occult? We're since seeing that that it's been said that when the Lord said that his chosen people are the people of Israel, well, Israel is the whole, all, not just a little landmass where the Jews live. So this is the part of the deception there as well that we're uncovering. And the 12,000 years ago, which would take us to 9,000 BC, is when Noah was, and the new type of man being formed in the ark. There's a lot to come on there. So the other two videos you will need to tie in with, and this is number 3 for a reason. This is the final. It's like a layer cake, and we've done it in a structured way, as such, because there is a reason for the cognition. If you haven't seen the other two videos, you will need to watch them. One is on this one, Indi Glow. It's got the yellow symbol, and it's called Exited the Matrix, the Architect's Design. And then the second one is on splspro. That's called Civil Status Standing Capacity, to do with the courts. I think the TDA is in the name of the first one as well that's on here. splspro's got the second, and this one is the third one. So number 1 and 3 are on here. Number 2, which is the civil court, is more court focused, is on the splspro. So this ties in with Indi and what you like, but it will be recorded. It is being recorded, and it will be put onto Pro later, tonight or tomorrow. So we continue on. The 12 tribes of Israel and what's going off with your independent work does tie into this, but it isn't so much relevant in law, so I've left it out. But I want you to know we are working on a bigger picture at the same time, simultaneously, which is incredible to see and be a part of. So the ancient Latin, all uppercase text, is the copyright property of the Vatican. Right, so when we're talking about ring fencing and protecting birth certificates and putting them into common law courts, hear this. It's the copyright property of the Vatican, the Roman Empire, and if you use it, you attach yourself to the terms and conditions of the property of the Roman Empire. You need a license to use it, but is the Latin you see every day on a driver's license, court documents, banking contracts, government contracts, NHS, etc., etc., is it really true Latin, or is it the dogged corruption that is neither true English or true correct Latin? If this written text is English and this is proper symbolic sign language Latin, then what is this text? You will need this document. It does give you examples in with the bold and the hyphens and the capitals, but just bear with. If you are on part of the course, you will have had this document and you will be referring to it now, or you will have, or you know, you'll be taking a test with it in front of you. This is and this is why. And why is Rome and its legal eagles turning a blind eye? Who would benefit from such corruption? If Rome has become the legal title holder of England and its subdivisions, defender of the Christian faith, then have you become the legal third-party title holder of Rome, being the debtor of Rome, evidenced by any account you may be holding with your name glossed into ancient Latin, ASL, American Sign Language, or a corrupt version, being the property of Rome or its banking debtor, and appearing in such names or effigies as, all caps, John Paul Smith, or lowercase John, lowercase Paul, uppercase Smith, or Mr. uppercase Smith uppercase. What foreign text appears on your passport, driving license, bank account, NHS, the list goes on? Is it even Latin or dog Latin? And if so, maybe you are not aware that a true name can never grammatically appear in illustrative, that symbolic text. Illustrative text is a picture, not writing. Grammatically speaking, true proper names are capitalized, not symbolized, rendering the presumption that your own ignorance of the grammatical rules of English and ancient Latin are the root cause of your own inability to know the difference between your true name and a foreign debtor account of the foreign Roman Empire. And you are deceived into holding without your knowledge. Even your own name is made up of two entities, Christian name and surname. That is two, not one. This is even evidenced by two birthing certificates. This is a large area of confusion, so it gives me great pleasure to slowly say this and have it on video and be putting it into a course. Okay, are you ready? We'll say it again. I've said it before, it needs repeating. The only time, this is even evidenced by two birthing certificates. Birth of the Christian name, which is account, certificate of birth, and the birth of the surname, account, state, birth certificate. The only time that the full legal person was birthed, being the name appearing with the Christian name and surname appearing as one in proper English, such as John Paul Smith, all lowercase, is on the day of registration, not the day you were born, because the date the Christian name was registered was on the registration date, sometime after you were born, okay? The GRO bondsman office, when your parents go and register you. 23:11, wow, that was a good little synchronicity as I looked up how many minutes we've been going. Thank you. And not your born date. So let's just go back as so John Paul Smith is on the day of registration. The only time you'll see that name appearing as one proper name, John Paul Smith, all lowercase, is on the day of registration, not the day you were born, because the date the Christian name was registered was on the registration date, and that is sometime after you were born and not your born date. Your true full name is only the Christian name, or given name as we'll call it. If you're not a Christian, it's a given name. If you're a Muslim or non-Christian. It is the state that joined the family name to your Christian name. So they are joinder, yeah? So they are liable for the debts because it's their property, their copyright. It's not some joinder, and there's another word that I'll come to later on that I've put in there on purpose. One would even wonder why the church itself remained quiet about such a deception. Was it because it was the role of the church to serve Christ? So if Christ, never returned, maybe the Vatican, the debtor of man, would only need to serve itself, and it could render itself as the benefactor if the beneficiary Christian account was, say, lost or not present, CQV, lost at sea. Ooh, imagine that. Just pause and imagine that for a moment. What? So I continue on. I wonder why Latin and grammar have been removed from the corporate state school system. As I've said in previous videos, and as Santos has said, and as Romley has said, and as Franco Collins has said, and as Steve McRae and Richard Ansar, the big boys and the mans that know tell you about the finance, and they removed what when they removed the backing of the sterling silver in the 60s? They removed a thing which is called etymology, also the phonics, the linguistic skills. We ended up with a D-based language. So I appreciate I'm kind of mixing a bit here. I'm letting you know where we're at, because you know, after Santos, confirmation, that's all man needed. Now I've had confirmation and I've had a chat, we're off. This is it. You know, I thank you. I wonder why Latin and grammar have been removed from the corporate state school system. Well, here we go. Again, on top of that, because if you could really read and you knew your Latin and your grammar and your language and your phonics and your etymology, you would see the deception in plain sight. If you was born into fraud and lived your whole life in fraud without ever being aware of such a fraud, then coming face to face with the truth would understandably split your coconut, mash your Swede, make you run away, tell you that you think we're nuts. Dave, everyone's dead. Everyone's dead, Dave. That's what all my life is. I see dead people. So, the truth would understandably be a difficult thing to accept. The cognition, that's why we're having this education system now. That's why we're doing it as we're doing. We're doing it like a universal non-sectarian remedy, where we would like to declare all the world's resources back to common heritage and get these corporations out of it, this Roman civil cult. This is worldwide. If you're watching this channel and you're not on the Anglo landmass, this still is relevant to you. Australia, America, as you see. Many will refuse to accept that their own lack of knowledge in relation to grammar is the cause of their own misunderstanding in relation to their own name, their own being, whom they are, what their rights are. Your surname is assumed. It is not your property, and it does not appear as part of your name on any birth certificate. The Justinian deception, 530 AD, enter the end of humanity. Babylon, you know, Phoenicians, Arcadia, Sumer, yeah, the books, the Bibles. Justinian deception. What is the Justinian deception? The all uppercase text derived from ancient Latin and is deemed as an illustrative text and not as a descriptive text, such as English. And then it says who was Justinian. So that's that page there. I'm moving through some of them quite quick. I apologise if these images are offensive or scary, or if they question your faith. I'm not here to do that. I'm here to bring you research, and it's not just mine, yeah, and we want to chat. I'm not trying to say that, if you just bear with me, please, yeah, and those of you that are on the course, you need to bear with us, because it's quite deep, but you're on here for a reason, and you have that level of understanding, cognition, and you are here to hopefully learn and to bounce back and reflect. So, if you don't know Romilly Stewart, Justinian deception, you do now. Vatican control, Justinian deception, the face of the modern day Roman Nazi Vatican slavery system that controls the world today via a grammatical corruption of the English text, the court systems, the Roman temple, BAR, the dogma, glossa is prevalent. That's his 4-point here. They got to give this man respect for that, because this is massive. This is such a critical, crucial point. Romilly, yes, so Black's Law, the little tricks, all rise. It's not just this, there's a lot more to it, hence the videos and the documents. We need to bring you up to speed, and thank you for joining. Justinian, Emperor of Rome from 527 AD to 565 AD, and the Justinian principle of the corporate dead governance of the dumbed down, distracted masses. So why do we shed light on this person? What did Justinian do that changed the history of our modern day governance? It's simple. He understood the meaning of God. He had the comprehension to understand Article 1.26 Genesis being the authorization that granted total authority over the world to man and nothing else, grantor of dominion, being the greatest of authority that was granted to man from the God of the Bible we are all aware of today. Can we please get Old Testament, New Testament and King James versions of that, please? Article 1 set 1.26 Genesis. All that, I will get them and copy them up as well, but just while you're here, just to see, all that man needs to be done is for living man to give his consent to a dead corporation, in order that a dead corporation can access the dominion, total authority from man. If man does not consent, then a secret system of deception may have to be created in order to deceive man into consent without man ever being made aware. Right, so when you're in a constructed public statutory trust, you don't need to be informed that you're in that trust to be in there with the legal trustee possessory title crap that they put you in, okay? That's what that's saying there. The secret system exists. Richard Ansar, we thank you, brother, for that. Trust law, the legal code to modern day slavery, Article 1, Section 26, Genesis, is the founder to trust law. And what is trust law? I think you've got an idea now. You're beginning to learn, aren't you? This is what we should have had years ago. It is a legal code to a master-servant relationship, being slavery. However, slavery is outlawed, remember? It's a crime, allegedly. I go back to the 1800s and the blacks and what happened there. See the film, 12 Years a Slave. Well, that's an embarrassment and a joke, to be fair. I don't know how it's got nominated to win any kinds of awards, but hear this. Job, just over broke. When you go and submit a job application willingly, we've said it before, servitude that is applied for, when you beg and submit and enter into it willingly with free will, then you've asked for that, hence me ditching the 26.5 grand job. I haven't got anything to go to. I'm trying to exist honourably, and I'm moving around, put it like that. No one in their right mind wants to be a slave, and that is why the warnings appear in the Bible, warning against the deceptive nature of the serpent snake in the Garden of Eden, because it is through this clever deception of the serpent, being the usurper snake. Also see usury and usufruct for part of this serpent type snake language. That trust law has become the new system of slavery, protected and perfected and hidden over hundreds of years by legal minds of deception, the masters of deceit, Justinian deception, the Vatican, and several paid shills, members, trolls, and we now know groups that have been set up to divert us on public. Hence private and what we're doing. We are affiliated with no one. We are one family, moving in honour under the Lord Creator on a sacred contract, as I've pointed out and expressed honourably, to you, with truth from the hearts of man. Without that one simple article, 1.26 Genesis, being the granting of such dominion over the land, the sky, the sea, and the thing that creep, man would never have any legal ability to govern anything. Such a biblical statute also prevents any form of governance over man, because man has the highest authority over all living things on this world, as well as the authority over the thing that creep. And what is the thing that creep? It's not a centipede, ladies. It's not a spider, but you're close. I'm a sovereign, get me out of here. What is the thing that creeps? The legal dead surname, being in Latin, the name that creeps up from below. Only living man holds the highest authority, being sovereignty or dominion. Okay, Elizabeth, you hear that? GCHQ, the only part of the government that listens. Do you hear what we're saying? Do you hear how we see it? So only living man holds the highest authority, the being, sovereignty or dominion over the natural, mineral and energy wealth of Eden, earth. So man must be assumed dead in the water in order that the serpent, usurper, can claim equitable title over Eden. But remember this. How many men are worthy of holding the true wealth of Eden, mineral and energy reserve over the Vatican? And that is why the code of understanding of the Bible codes are so complex, in order that only the true learned, the servants of the first grantor of dominion, the first God, comprehend why the serpent must exist. The serpent, usurper, Vatican, only holds authority over its own property, being the dead accounts. the dead persons of Rome. If you hold any accounts of Rome, you, by your own claim, are the property of Rome, rendering your God as now the Vatican, because the Vatican created the person. And when the living man is annexed, joinder, annexed, when the living man, or when man is annexed, or the living beneficiary, will say, that's me getting mixed up, editing a bit. The living beneficiary, stroke man, is annexed, joinder, to the person. Such man, living beneficiary, no longer serves the first God of the living man. Wow. Ooh, yeah, sorry. The accounts of Rome can only be attached to the property of Rome, being the persons of Rome. A person is not a living man. God is not a respecter of persons. Human Rights Act. Every human is entitled to persons. It's all clicking into place, is it not? A person is not a living man. It is the rank in a society. A military, account holder, legal occupier, you get it, and by your own actions, by agreeing to hold any form of account, you have agreed to serve the second God, being the God of the person, the God of the pagan, pay again, person. Think of a lady and what she has and puts the money in. She puts it in her purse. She puts her purse in a bag. Purse, purse on, pay again, pay again. Being the Vatican, the world debtor, and the legal title holder of Eden. The Vatican is the beast of burden, Babylon, of man, and by holding any accounts of Rome, you become the servant of the beast. You have left the true God. And we've referenced this before. Santos has referenced it before. This is unbelievable. This is Romley Stewart, Richard Ansar, Santos Bonacci, Franco Collins, David Jeremita. Yeah, wow, the deception, dog Latin. Told you, we're getting there. We're at the end nearly, very close. What is dog Latin? So what did Justinian do in order to gain so much power and authority over man? He created the greatest deception concept ever perpetuated against living man in modern known history, no less. He killed man without everyone ever knowing that they were all legally dead. Everyone's dead, Dave. Dave, everyone's dead. I see dead people. We were sacrificed at birth, dumped into the sea. Yes, you call yourself a victim, Regina. Victims will give you victims. I continue professionally. Sea of commercial paper, yeah, sacrificed at birth, dumped into the sea, cast out. Sea of commercial paper, that's what you're into, in order to be salvaged by the Roman Empire before they were ever aware that you and I were assumed dead, yeah, lost at sea, CQV, 1666, 1537, 1302, all of what we've gone through there, and never likely to return. Justinian, Emperor of Rome, and his legal team in 530 and 560 AD, trespass. They created a governmental masterpiece of modern day deception in order to deceive the public, yeah, into falling into the general public, to falling into the private military contracts of the Roman Empire under the direct control of the Vatican in order to forego true justice. Justice is a straight line. Dog Latin is the bending of the line. Yeah, the corruption, the spurious document, the declension, and the debasement, the immoral act that no positive law could ever follow. When we talk about positive law, video number 1 has got all that in your pyramid and your outlining, and we explain that for you because I knew this was coming later on, but I didn't know it'd come in this form. This isn't all my words here. This is straight from where I've told you. No passive law could ever follow. It is the clever deception that people assume this text was English, and that's how you corrected the error in the name. It was never your name in the first place. This deception was right under our noses, in plain sight, all of our life. Translations in relation to the use of dog Latin. What is dog Latin? You need to look at Black's Law Dictionary, and look in there, look at, it claims that it is a debased form of Latin. It's a text appearing under the grammatical rules of English. It's unreadable. So what does it look like? It simply looks like this, and there's an example there with some capitals in the lowercase. And where do you find it? Well, look at court documents, government documents, banking documents, your driver's license, NHS, finance, fiscal, all of the above. Yes, all the entities you assume that you could trust and that I could trust, yeah? Your birth certificate, the warning at the bottom, yes? Warning, do not use this document as evidence. Well, it exists only with the consent of the ignorant, my brothers and sisters. Yeah, well, ignorant no more. Ignorant no more. You're going to follow. You're going to follow what we say here. It is the language of the illiterate. Just to give you an example of how dangerous this deception is, if you do not have a cognition of it now, we will give you a translation from dog Latin to English, and then from English into correct Latin. What? I never did Latin. I'm glad somebody here did. You see, this is another weak area. Anybody that's a Latin expert, please say hello to the man David, Indigo, and the family. Let it be known, we need a Latin specialist. Oh, there's somebody ringing. Static. Alright, we're back. Static, I get you. Thank you. I did ask at the beginning. Done it. Sorted. I mean, look, we just paused. Wow, there's loads of you. Hello all. We're all good. Alright then, so it's just gone now. We'll carry on. Oh, FPV and the crew's in the house. Okay, thank you guys. Right, translations. In relation to the use of dog Latin, Black's Law Dictionary, D-base form, it simply looks like this. Yes, uppercase. Where did I get to? Yeah, court documents. It exists only with the consent of the ignorant, language of the illiterate. Translating. Alright, in relation to the text used by the US Federal Reserve, the bar, the banking system, and the United Nations, the European Union, EU, such things entities use American Sign Language, being the all uppercase text, in order to identify corporations registered within the United States Securities, United Kingdom as well, and Exchange Commission. But do they, or is it the deceptive dog's Latin? Here is the presumption and the fact in relation to dog Latin. A sample is given in the Oxford and Chicago Manual of Styles. This one's referencing Chicago. I do need to get an Oxford, and I know Barry and a few others have got some, our friend Barry, brother Barry, not Big Barry, has got the Oxford Manual of Styles. So Chicago Manual of Styles, section 11.147, foreign languages of the correct way, Latin, reference, American Sign Language, is to be used in relation to the sample. A car drove by. The translation into American Sign Language, ASL, appears as vehicle, capital, hyphen, drove, is capital, and hyphen by. So it went from a car drove by, all lowercase, with spaces, to vehicle, hyphen, drove by, hyphen by, in capitals. So do you notice the hyphen? One rest in written Latin and American Sign Language, that constitutes a break between the two signs. Words, whereas in relation to the English grammatical rules dealing with English text, one rest constitutes joinder between the two words. Two rests or one rests and a full stop constitutes the break in relation to the written English grammatical rules. So never mind David Wynne Miller and his past syntax grammar and things like that. This is just to do with the Oxford Styles Manual, the Oxford, the grammatical rules, and the you know, things like that that are important when they are legal documents. So two different sets of very different grammatical rules. This means that when Latin or ASL is used without the hyphen, it renders nothing. In fact, leaving only an ignorant presumption. Yes, I'm sorry, but that such all uppercase text is valid. This is just word science. So let's translate. The cat sat on the mat. That's just a normal lowercase sentence with spaces. Let's translate that into Latin to see what happens. And you get from the cat sat on the mat, and that's all lowercase, you get the cat sat on the mat in hyphens, which is how it reads there. So grammatically correct. Oxford style corrupt, translation. Now from dog Latin to English, that would go, I know my camera, I've tried to sort it many a time, just get the document. From dog Latin, yeah, into English, so you've got the cat sat on the mat there in your capitals, and then it translates back to lowercase with the full stops after it. Dog Latin to English, that is, yeah. The cat, full stop, cat, full stop, sat, full stop, on, full stop, the, full stop, mat, full stop. As you can see, the second sample translated into nothing readable. That's why the second sample is called Dog Latin, or Dog Latin being a language of the illiterate. This is where we say it's a D-based language because of the removal of from the 60s. It is a declension meaning it is wrong, immoral, void. Pardon me. It is also the language of the dead ledger, being depicted as the Egyptian god of the dead underworld, Anubis, depicted as a man with the head of a dog in Egyptian hieroglyph symbolism. Dog Latin, the eye of Horus, god of war and the dead, also depicted on the US $1 note. But is that even grammatically correct, appearing in Dog Latin? Is this a revival of Egyptian slavery? Let's look at the company registered on the, and this is for, now it says here United States Securities and Exchange Commission, so we'd look at the United Kingdom, and we'd look at our version of the stock exchange and commissions, yeah, Bond Street, London, Bond Street, Stock Exchange, New York, Exchange Commission, and this is in America, hang on, United States Securities and Exchange Commission, District of Columbia, remember Columbia TriStar, Christopher Columbus, so it's in the District of Columbia, being the registered company, Commonwealth of Australia, the translation from Dog Latin into English text. So yeah, remember, this is Romley from Australia, talking about how it the names are registered on the dead ledger, Egyptian underworld, Anubis. You can't even make this up, really, you couldn't. So I continue on. You need the document. You will be tested later on. Commonwealth of Australia equals Commonwealth, full stop, of, full stop, Australia, full stop. Does it exist? Notice the full stops after each word. So let's translate the Commonwealth of Australia into correct American Sign Language. I'm going to miss all that out because it's boring and you can read that in the document. So are you starting to see the deception yet? The foreign private banks such as the US Federal Reserve that owns the Commonwealth of Australia account may not exist in any lawful de jure ability. It is only assumed by the illiterate ignorant that could not read proper English. Why does the Governor General assume office? Because there is no office, in fact. Is this how real governments have been destroyed by the private foreign banking entities? Have they pulled a swifty over the people of the world via a grammatical deception, a trick in the text, a joker card? Is Dog Latin the language of the dog that is always subject to their master, man? Is the dog the slave? Is your driver license your identification that you agreed to be the dog? Are you a Mr. or are you a Miss or a Mrs. in the military holding a dog tag written in Dog Latin? Are you legally dead? But have you not worked it out yet? Are you a slave by deception? Oh, sorry guys, but you know, we continue on. I'm nearly halfway through. We have got a remedy, that's the key point. So continuing on, Adam and Eve, the warning, concept of trust law. We'll go back and circle that again. This concept is not new. Trust law is not new. This is thousands of years old, as we're saying. It's unbelievable. And the original warning about such a deception is the first story in the Bible, Adam and Eve. Such a story has all the elements of a trust law arrangement, the usurper, Vatican, and the house of the debtor, tree of knowledge, and the house of the creditor, tree of life. Split title being the concept of trust law, divide and then conquer, the warning from God up on high, the creator, the Lord, being the first granter of dominion to man. He warned Adam, man, to stay away from the fruit of the tree of knowledge, which is the house of the debtor. Was the fruit of the privilege of slavery. was the fruit, the privilege of slavery. The very attachment, annexing or joined it to the fruit of the tree of knowledge, being the house of the debtor, legal title holder. Whew! See what's in Romilly and Justinian deception there. That's some deep, dark, deep rewind selector. You know what I mean? Highlight, get over, big debate. Trustee of a dead account of Rome, being a dead thing, as God claimed, you will surely die if you eat from the fruit of the tree of knowledge. Being the debtor account of the Garden of Eden, Adam became the legal title holder then, losing the equitable title of Eden to the serpent, Vatican, preventing Adam from entering the garden without permission or license from the grantor of the legal title. Adam was cast into the sea and could only enter then back into the garden under a license, because he was no longer the holder of the equity. He knew the knowledge, the notice, the legal title. He held the ledger, being the tomb. He surely legally died. The very word posting means transferring an account to a ledger. And what is a ledger? The stone that covers a tomb. The holder of the ledger is dead, entombed into the contract, just like God warned Adam, living man, the beneficiary of the land. You know, remember, RE trust law. True title is split into legal title and equitable title, and if you hold legal title, you don't have rights over equitable title. Without license, you need a license to drive your car. You need a license to practice certain things, yes, to fly a drone. What? We continue on. Thank you for sticking with us. You no longer hold equitable title over your car, evidenced by the fact you need a license to drive it or use your right to travel on public lands. Yeah, the equitable title belongs to the one who granted you the license. And if your government is a company registered with the United States Securities and Exchange Commission, or United Kingdoms and Companies House, and registered as a private corporation that's trading in what? Bankruptcy. Well, I assume that the United States Federal Reserve or the Bank of Rothschild and Windsor private banking system is holding your equitable title to your car, maybe your own bank, your own country, your own dominion, and your own body, and the oil and mineral reserve dominion that goes along with it. Did they take it, or did we give it to them without a fine? Split title, the two birthing certificates. Let's go. That's why you have two birthing certificates, and also why the bank needs the details of one of them in order to give you legal title, because you may be holding the wrong one. What? Imagine that. The two birthing certificates are evidence of split title, being a trust agreement. Split title, debtor or creditor, the choice is yours, and the certificates identify the difference. You can get the other certificate of birth. You can't get the other certificate of birth unless you know your name and date of birth of your Christian account. It's under your nose again on your birth certificate. Another disturbing account is the birthing certificate themselves. They are also dogged into dog Latin, rendering them potentially void from the beginning to the end. The signs certificate of birth translates to certificate full stop of full stop birth. As you can see, it's nonsensical. The prima facie certificate, being the certificate of the Christian name effigy, is dogged in dog Latin. Why, you may ask? Because when they are exposed, it is only your own stupidity, our own stupidity, my own stupidity and ignorance of the biblical codes and plain old grammar that gave them your equity thieves. You applied for everything, like I said, the job, to hold their accounts. So they obliged, as good dog servants do, and gave you what you wanted, what they tricked us into, civil, legal death. Legal death. As Eve said, the privilege being the fruit of the house, tree of the debtor, tastes good. And credit does taste good until you miss a payment. Hello, is that David? Yeah, I'm a bit sick at the minute. Where's my money? Where's my money? You get me? Yes, you do. That's why we're here and doing this. So until you miss a payment, Adam, man, loss of the equitable title over Eden, the earth dominion, was due to a masterpiece of deception, deceived by the serpent, usurper, the snake, reptilian. Oh, David Icke, don't want to go there. But carry on. It's there. I'm sorry, it's there. Remember the biblical maxim, thou shalt not worship engraved images or other gods. And when you know your grammar and your Latin, and you become aware of that uppercase text that it is grammatically an engraved image, it is it is an illustrative text, being an Egyptian hieroglyph. The engraved image is not that of the descriptive text of English. It is the dead language of the house of the dead, tree of knowledge. It even tells you it's dead. Engraved, engraved, yes. Oh wow. To me, it's a slap in the face. I thought I was, we're not experts, we're not professionals, we are not academics. We are educating ourselves right now, and every day is, in fact, a day for education. It is the language of the ledger, and what is the ledger? The slab of the stone that sits on the tomb. When God said that if you eat from the fruit of the tree of knowledge, you will surely die, God was not joking. He meant every word. The language of the tree of knowledge, being the house of the debtor, is the illustrative text, the symbolic language of the dead. Even the word corporation means dead, speaking. So how can you be assumed as a living man when you are the holder of the dead accounts of Rome? What does the Christian cross symbolize? It means died. Webster's dictionary, reference symbols. The warnings are everywhere. By holding any form of license, you are telling the world that you are dead, and you are no longer the equitable title of Eden. You are the legal title of Eden, title holder of Eden, and you worship the serpent Satan. That's the base 10 number system as well, though. Satan, Sayten, Satan, base 10 number system. Put a pin in it. You are the servant debtor of the snake. You pay his bills, and not even the true God of living man can save you from your adultery for worshipping other gods of the dead. You lost jurisdiction with the first God of living man by holding the dead person and the dead accounts of Rome. Being the creation of the serpent, usurper, God simply stands for grantor of dominion, G-O-D. The grantor is the master. The grantee is the slave serpent. Then we've got a little bit of a University of Notre Dame. What you assume is sometimes not what you expect. Comments, please. Here are some Latin meanings for words we take for granted. Latin dictionary for grammar aid. Trust. Trucido, to kill, cruelly, slay, butcher, massacre, slaughter. Truculenta, adjective, wildly, savagely, fiercely, cruelly, roughly. And trunco, means to maim, mutilate, mangle, imperfect, not whole, missing, apart. That was trust from the University of Notre Dame, Latin Dictionary and Grammar Aid. Surname, sub-repo or surrepo, to creep up or crawl from down below. Dollar, dolens, painfully. Dolio, to suffer pain, to be pained or grieve. Dolor, D-O-L-O-R, pain, grief, misery, pain, suffering. Delos, slyly and deceitfully. Dolossus, crafty, cunning, sly, deceitful. Dolus, fraud, deceit, guile, treachery, a trap. Nomen is name. Nomen Romanarium, Roman power. So that was for courtesy of Hoodwinked Productions, it says there. In relation to the illustration that I've just shown you there, some words are far too dangerous to take for granted. R.E. names. A nomen is a name, the power of Rome, but a surname is a cognomen, not a nomen. A cognomen is Rome. It is not the power of Rome. It is subject to the direction of the nomen. And if your Christian name, nomen, is attached to the cognomen, surname, you become the servant of Rome and you lose your directive power over Rome. Why does the Queen of England hold no surname? The property of Rome is not your business. We've mentioned this before with the attachment of this is just a different direction and a bit of a somebody else that's now I've found and read this and gone, this is what we've said, and someone else has said it and he said it before, we've said it differently, we've explained it in trust and equity and trustee and public statutory and all of what we've done in 190 videos up to this point. And now it gives me great privilege and honour to re-cement it in a different way in another man's words. Remember, Adam, living man, was in the Garden of Eden, but first he was the first trustee of the first grantor of dominion, first God of Bible, and only when Adam was deceived into holding legal title by accepting the fruit of the tree of knowledge, meaning notice, did Adam lose his equitable title hold over dominion, total authority. Adam was not forced to accept the privilege of acting as the debtor. He accepted the fruit under his own free will and violation and said that it tasted good. But it comes with death, meaning you cannot be the holder of legal title and equitable title at the same time. Beneficiary and trustee, you can't be both positions at the same time. It will collapse the trust, yeah? Different words, same thing. One or the other. However, Christ offered a remedy within the dead world of the tree of knowledge, just jurisdiction of the debtor. He offered a trustee for your legal Christian account, rendering you as the dead, rendering you as the living man to remain as director of the serpent within the world of the dead. So rewind bow selector. However, Christ offered a remedy within the dead world of the tree of knowledge, jurisdiction of the debtor in brackets. He offered a trustee for your legal Christian accounts, rendering you as a living man to remain as director, we'll call that executive as well, set law, director of the serpent within the world of the dead. That's why you have two names. One is the property of the dead state. Every system must have a remedy, but this remedy comes with great comprehension of the nature of such biblical trust law system and the comprehension of just what God really means. You guys, you take this on how you want to take it. I'm not telling you, I'm asking for. This is a lesson, truly a lesson in so many things, more than one area. Anyone who grants or creates is the God of what he grants or creates. Grantor, set law. The grantor is the master, and the one who accepts such a grant is indebted. Even if you grant a deception, yes, Parliament, the one who accepts such a deception is obligated because the grantee agreed to whatever the grantor granted. The Vatican Rome granted the person, not the first God of the living. Yeah, God is not a respecter of persons. God granted existence, not death. If you are a person, your God is not the first God of the living. Your God is the second God of death. The serpent, a person, is a dead entity, a corporation. The serpent, the Vatican Rome, VAT I can, think about it, VAT, is now the benefactor, beneficiary, being the de facto quasi-holder of the equitable title of Eden and all its mineral and energy reserves, because the true first beneficiary, being man, has been evicted via deception, lost at sea, and assumed never to return. CQV 1666. This is why the secret codes of governance over the masses is kept so hidden in grammatical deception, such as the Justinian masterpiece glosser. The return of the beneficiary would render the benefactor back as the debtor trustee. Think about that and look at the court video number 2 there for that as well. The power of Rome is only a grammatical deception, it seems. The Vatican is indeed the servant of man. Man granted legal title over the dominion of Eden to the Vatican as the debtor, and the Vatican accepted it. It is the Vatican's deception that deceived man into becoming the legal title holder of the Vatican, turning man from standing as the beneficiary into the vassal of the vessel, being into the debtor of the debtor, and now the chattel. Wow. Such a deception was done by a grammatical masterpiece of fraud in order to annex, attach, join the man to dead accounts of Rome. rendering such man as the account holder of the property of the Roman Empire, therefore giving Justinian, Emperor of Rome, total authority over the account that was being attached to man, living beneficiary. It was not man that was under the power of Rome, it was the account that was under the authority of Rome. And because man had unwittingly become the holder of such an account, attachment, the man was bound as the assumed trustee of such a foreign account and is obligated to settle the debts of such account, bringing back brother Ansar, we are the principal and the surety for the debt. I don't agree to be the surety. Well, unfortunately, it appears man is. The dog Latin trustee is the legal dead and third-party slave of such a Roman account. The Vatican Rome grants their system of mass control by deceit to the empire in order to administer it. The Vatican also has the power to resume such a system in order to end any empire that operates under such Vatican-owned code. Copyright. If such an empire does not please such a grantor of such a system, in other words, if the serpent Vatican doesn't get its cut of what has been plundered by the administrating empire, it may choose to recall its copyrighted system and end such an empire and claim the legal ability to justify itself. Let that sink in. Rome is now United States Federal Reserve under the direction of the city of London, so it is assumed it may hold the Holy Lance of Rome, the lance that divides and conquers, the lance power of Rome that split Christ into blood and water, aka debtor and creditor and debtor. Why we always say debtor and creditor, I don't know. Let's get it right. It's creditor and debtor. It's David and then Jeremiah. It's John and then Smith. War, Vatican, blessing, horror, harrowing, political, kissing, cuddling, in the pockets, blood. What happens when we have war? What happens when they die? All those soldiers' estates, all of the estates of the dead. What do the landmass and the monarchies do when they murder, bomb, foreign war policy, the King of Jordan closing his borders, telling that the Yemeni can't get salvation from the king who's connected to the God? Are you hearing what the words are in here? Shitstorms coming for them. So blessing the killers, administration of the Justinian deception since 530 AD. The deception, retribution, it's coming. The deception was simple. If man assumed that his heritage name, Smith, appearing as the foreign glossed account, thing, appearing as a symbolic designation of a thing, Smith, on any paper instrument, agent Smith, and claimed such a name, thing, assuming it to be his own property, then living man, the living beneficiary, man, in fact, has claimed ownership over a foreign Roman debtor account in the foreign illustrative symbolic text appearing as Smith, and unbeknown to such a deceived man, living beneficiary, he has now become the unsuspecting debtor of the property of the foreign Roman Empire. The surname is the property of Rome, not you, not your family. Why? Because it appears in the Roman text Smith, all capitals, and not as true noun, Smith, lowercase. The living man has become the dead account holder, trustee of the property of foreign Rome, United States Federal Reserve account, United Kingdom also, subject to the laws of statutes of such a foreign account and without compensation, equitable remedy. He has been conned, trapped, snared, deceived into the salvage grasp of the Justinian deception and unwittingly become the account holder of the accounts of the foreign Roman Empire. The Commonwealth of Australia is registered to the United States Federal Reserve via the United States Securities and Exchange Commission, USSEC, for good reason. USS Enterprise, it looks like the USS Enterprise again. Core directive for good reason. It's linked to the City of London and Rome. The Commonwealth of Australia company is a foreign account of the Roman Empire, and as such, registration information, it is actually in the public domain. They haven't really hidden it, they haven't really covered anything up. That's how clever the deception is actually being. It's our mind, it's our cognitive dissonance, it's our confusion, it's these agents and trolls and shills and, you know, everyone, I'm not going to say, but you know, that have been you've been programmed, the deception, the clever deception. They didn't really hide anything. Our mind that has been programmed not to believe the truth. You know what I'm saying. Your family disassociate from you. They switch off. They walk away. They don't understand. And I've got family that are doing investment banking. Wow. So. Free will, they utilise the free will, your ignorance, the free will. If you don't use your free will and you are ignorant to it, then, you know, that's how they get on it. That's their karmic retribution, as we've said before. Get rid of your TV, take it from your home and dump it, or just use it for your own choice of movies or whatever. Start learning your own grammar and educating yourself, as this family's doing now. Now we go to Sun and Moon a minute. Let's take a break. Everyone that's on the course, you search on YouTube for Sun and Moon. The date today is the 23rd of July. So there's a video come out by Flat Earth, and Sun and Moon have shared it yesterday. Man got up, man, in this residence community environment, and Amory got the television on, and it was on Channel 5. The agents were on the TV dressed in black, weren't they? The so-called bailiffs and sheriffs. And I went live on my Facebook profile after being awake, conscious again, 10 to 15 minutes with tiny eyes, and I let rip into Channel 5, into what they were doing, into the fear, into why I'm seeing this at 11:30 on the Sabbath, on the Holy Sunday. We know what that day means and translates into. Man's waking up, 60% hungover, on a come down, spent too much money, big hangover, you know, waking up not knowing where they are, all kinds of tangles, youth, everything. And you are vulnerable, weak, you're at the end of the week, you know, you're recovering from that, you are, you know, in a worse state of where you are not strong and confident, and you've got that shite on the TV. No, we'll talk about it. We did. I went live, I ranted. First thing in the morning rant was, you know, quite unique. It needed doing. Someone's taken that, Flat Earth, putting it into a video, and Sun and Moon shared that, and that's where we're at. You know, it's breaking out big time. We've got Steve McRae, expert in all legal matters, who has shared and posted fidelity.com, and then we've got a document, link in the document here, USSEC, Securities and Exchange Commission, Edgar, search results. It's just a little bit of a print screen that you can go to. The links and everything will be there in association with other such sites that we've found along the way. You will notice that any government account relating to power, bills, rates, water, etc., being accounts are all rendered in the illustrative, all uppercase symbolic text known as Dog Latin. And why? They are grammatically telling you that the accounts are foreign and have nothing to do with correct English or even correct Latin. They are the debts of a foreign private administrator. They are not your property. It is the property of the usurper or serpent. Anything rendered in the all uppercase text, such as name or a town or a street or a suburb or an address or a state, or even two or more capital letters joined together without a space, renders a presumption that it is not a fact, and this is where the presumption of law derives from. The all uppercase sign language is not written text, it is a picture, an illustration. It is the joker within the document. Black's Law Dictionary, 4th edition, has got a little excerpt at the top there that is put in the top, so that makes it easier. Joker, in political usage, a clause in legislation that is ambiguous or apparently immaterial, inserted to render its inoperative or uncertain without arousing opposition at the time of passage. Bennett v. Commercial Advertiser, assigned 230 New York 125 129 NE 343344. So It is the fraud in the beginning that renders such a presumption to be fraud to the end. Such all uppercase symbolic text is only assumed to be written fact because we living man have become stupid, but not really. We have been indoctrinated, programmed from the day into their doctrination, until from the day we were born, birthed into a fraud, and we have never known any better. It's only when we start to feel things are wrong within our natural bodies and within our hearts of man, that some of us start to look deeper. Thank you. Not all, this isn't all our work. This is a lot of work. And a lot of brains that I've mentioned into what is causing so many people to wonder what is wrong with our system. When you notice the rates bills, power bills, courts bills, all state entries, bills appear in the mail. They are not bills. We've talked about the bills of exchange, 1882, this, that, the other. We've covered it extensively. So they are what we would say, and wrongly saying, are accounts. And it's only when you claim such an account by opening such an envelope that houses such an account, you become the claimant. So there we go, and correcting the relationship and certain things out of such an account, appearing within. It's only after you have claimed such an account appearing in the mail does the account become your bill. Why? Because you agreed to act as the account holder. And why? Because what you assumed to be your name or street or town or your address was in fact the foreign designation of a foreign account. And by your actions relating to you opening and claiming the mail or the telephone, you did become the assumed account holder or email of such account. Accounts are things, and things are rendered in the sign language, all uppercase text. Accounting is the art of cunning. Accounting is an art. It's an art of cunning. It's from the Professor Cunning from the University of Foxiness, of conferring debt titles upon the unsuspecting. The all uppercase text is just a legal title that renders you as the trustee of such title. You must settle the debt if you have claimed ownership, trusteeship over such a debt account. So that's your bill and account and things like that explained a little bit there, isn't it? And a bit more clarity for you in a different text, language, subtext and content, but the same vein. The greatest deception that people of today refuse to believe is that this type of all uppercase text is not English, all capitals and block capitals, yeah? That it's not English, and that this type of text is English, the lowercase text is English and the capitals is not. The great difference is that this all uppercase capital symbolic type of text is totally foreign to the English language and has different grammatical rules to the English language. And if you are not aware or made privy or informed or educated, yes, and you are schooled and indoctrinated, you won't see the difference between the grammatical differences. When they remove the etymology and the phonics, when they remove the silver and the backing, and we're going bankrupt and switcheroo and privatising, yeah, you see now, with the two languages, the English and ancient Latin, American Sign Language, and the difference between their different grammatical rules, you will fall for the deceptive trappings of the foreign accounts of Rome, the city of London, and the United Federal Reserve. All foreign corporate accounts. You become the citizen of Rome, the debtor, trustee of the Vatican. You are no longer man, living beneficiary. You are the dead, legal, corporate fiction entity, ripe for the plunder by the emperors of Rome in order to, I don't like this word, but in order to rape and plunder its own citizens, persons, employees. You are no longer a townsman, nobleman, or a countryman, or considered as countrymen. You are a foreign citizen, being the trustee to Rome, a legal occupier, the combatant, and belligerent. Ooh, the word debtor, the very word city, is an abbreviation of the City of London, being a square mile in the middle of London. Terrorism, that's a word. Noun, the unofficial or unauthorised use of violence and intimidation in the pursuit of political aims, the fight against terrorism, to use it in a sentence. Translation, word, origin, and more definitions. Terrorism, define terrorism at dictionary.com, the use of violence and threats to intimidate or coerce, especially for political purposes. Number 2, the state of fear and submission produced by terrorism or terrorization. Number 3, a terroristic method of governing or of resisting a government. Who are the terrorists really? Is the new style is the new style of militarised police bordering on terror in order to terrorise the citizen to comply, not question their own courts, police, government and officials and its actions in relation to ever increasing debt and poor mismanagement. So this is where we get soldiers returning back from Iraq and they come back to America and England and they walk the street with the uniform and everything on their, not uniform, what do you call it? Yeah, soldiers' gear, camouflage gear. Uniform, the duty wear, and they're walking down this city, America, United Kingdom, and they see a protest and they see officers spraying mace and bottle and kettling up citizens and persons, and the officers resist being violent to the persons, the man, and the soldiers come back and say, I've just come back from Iraq defending foreign territory for this country. I'll come back to my country, the United Kingdom, because they're not going to call it the landmass, Anglo soil. They're the soldiers, so they call it United Kingdom. They say the United States of America for America, and they say, what the are we doing? We've just been defending strangers on strange territory in the name of freedom, honour, peace, and so, what? Oh, you see now, come home and you're doing this to your own kind. What? No. No, arse backwards. So we continue on. Trustee, terrorism, yeah. What are they? Who are the terrorists really? The state is a victim. No, they're not. State's not a victim. We're not terrorising nobody. Yeah, we'll point that out. This is all for discussion, and you're going to be tested on certain bits in a few months. You've got 8 weeks to get over these 3 videos and these 3 documents comprising 80 pages, and I'm taking a bit of a rest as well. The admins are back on, everything's sorted out there, we're up to full strength. Terrorists, yeah, if someone abuses your rights are your property. If someone abuses your property, they're classed as a terrorist, and if they're terrorising your rights and property, then therefore we will lay claim upon that. So terrorist comes in many forms, yeah. They've put terrorism in the news and the media, and they've put down false news, yeah. That's why we're putting this. We've got to be careful when we mention this word on an open public cast of the net like this, but it's right, so we're all good. I'm not inciting any kind of racial hatred or asking you to change religion. I'm telling you what man's found in his research, and when we've looked at his story, we find out that his story really is a story, and it's quite a story, and it has a lot of interpretation. Terrorism. Who really won the war? Question there. Good question. The Roman Empire. I'll read this excerpt out here. Article 11.147 Chicago Manual of Styles, 16th edition. This picture below is one of the many bits. Well, that's above. That's below, but I don't know. This picture below is one of the many bits of evidence, the written hard evidence that identifies the all uppercase text as a foreign entity, a foreign language to the English written text, and goes on to confirm that there is no correspondence between the sign language and the language of the written text. Not only does it confirm there is no jurisdiction between the 2 styles of the text, it further identifies the grammatical error. That has got some text under there, but it's printed badly with my line, so I can't read you that, but that's quite juicy. I read it earlier in the sun, but I can't see it now. Contrast has gone. So it further identifies the grammatical error in all government and court and banking documents relating to the grammatical rule. How much battery? Good, yeah. Well, grammatical rule dealing with the sign language relating to hyphens between signs in order to string a sentence in sign language. One rest in relation to sign language constitutes a stopple between the signs, whereas one rest in written English constitutes the joinder between the 2 words. 2 rests are needed to confirm the stopple between words appearing in written English. Think about court letters. What font? New Times Roman. What size? How many spacing? Think about that now a moment, yeah? Not that we need to adhere to that, but think why it is and why. So 2 rests are needed to confirm the stopple between words appearing in written English text, whereas only one rest will cause the stopple between words appearing as signs. Article 11.147 Chicago Manual of Style 16 edition. See illustration below. These are also the rules. Re Ancient Latin being an illustrative text, meaning symbolic text or sign language, and renders a very different grammatical rule to the written descriptive English text. Such grammatical rules can only confirm that your Christian name and all uppercase surname have no jurisdiction with each other in a legal sense, unless agreed by the two parties. But if you were never aware of such hidden knowledge that deceived you into assuming that the two names were one, and you entered into a private foreign contract without you being aware, how could such a contract ever be deemed valid and honourable unless you were never made aware of who you really were until the day your body really did die? Deceived and denied from birth, all our forefathers, all the blood of man had gone by, all the guys that have prayed to the church and that have gone Hail Marys and this, that, the other and so forth. Consideration please is all I'm saying. This is, to the day you die, deceived and denied from birth until your death, your claim of right, your birthright, your first God-given rights that were unalienable, that were granted to you, that you were born, you were never known to you or hidden from you all of your life. What appears to be happening is that terror is now, George Bush, Tony Blair, we've heard of this word too many times, terror, now we're going to use it back on you. Terror is now being used by such a de facto corporate foreign governing bunch of contractors in order to enforce corporate governance upon the man, people that is questioning any part of the system. Yes, Theresa May, Elizabeth, this is what we're claiming. Part of the system, we meet face to face with very different government than what we assumed existed when we was indoctrinated in your school system. Terrorising the masses into submission of servitude may be effective, but is it right and will it work in the long haul? Channel 5, the sheriffs are coming. No, it won't. Do you know what I mean? It won't work in the long haul. Using the rule of law, JBW, John Mason, we are coming for you. We'll put the counterclaim in. We'll put the letter before claim in. We'll go down and deal with the civil matter. We'll check if the claims have been verified. We'll check with the prosecution because he will need to be cutting a check. We're going to wipe the floor with them. We are very close, very close. Not arrogant, just confident and humble. But we are gonna be having a big year. Christmas time, we're having a REIT party. A REIT party, I'm telling you. If banks profit on the selling of debt and the corporate governments are a subdivision entity of such a foreign bank, Commonwealth of Australia, Canada, and registered to the foreign USSEC, then is that not a conflict of interest when the government causes outrageous amounts of debt upon the people? Austerity of a country because such a de facto government is owned by the bank that needs to sell outrageous amounts of debt for the crappy fiat fiscal perpetual debt system in order to make such an outrageous amount of profit. Greece, example, bailout, International Monetary Fund. Every country that knows about the IMF knows about money because they've got the IMF on them, so they know about it. Your national insurance number, your person's national insurance number, your SSN number comes from that ungodly place. Our governments are all registered to the foreign United States Federal Reserve Banking System, RE, the United States Securities and Exchange Commission, Washington, D.C., District of Columbia. That may well be, that may not be. That needs to be checked. That's not my words. We are going a different way with the claim of right and remedy. Bear that in mind. This is just fantastic bit of information to chew over and to put bits of gaps in places where you may have had gaps before. Chicago Manual Styles, Foreign Languages. You've got an excerpt from the publication. Copyright is adhered to. Sources and references are there. Fully legal. While we're talking about this subject, try to lay claim on copyright on this man. You'll wish you hadn't. I think I'm going to stop. I'm tired. There is a little bit more. 2 more pages. This is where you need the love arts and the going-ons and the cheering on. So let's. The sign for car drove by is vehicle drive by. The Chicago Manual of Styles is the one book that is used in Oxford style, England, Anglo, that is used by the United States, United Kingdom, corporate banking system, enforcement military arm of Rome. The enforcement military arm of Rome, all banking paper and instruments must be rendered as a fiction and must never exist in fact. It is you that agree to accepting their fiction in order that they are never held accountable for the crimes you have committed by accepting what? Such a crime against the living man and the laws of grammar and God. You served a foreign state. If you were ignorant to the rules of English, you only have yourself to blame, because ignorance of the law is no defence, and the real laws are only the rules of the language used within the account you agreed to hold and the laws of God. If you don't know your own God, or don't bother to research who your real God is, you may be serving and following the rules of a false God. If you were aware of what the New World Order maritime jurisdiction government did to you in order to acquire the consent falsely via deception, you would never trust the government, the media, the police and the courts again. I hear you, family, I hear. They are all one thing. That maintains a massive grammatical deception over your mind in order to keep you under Vatican control. My Italian family are going ape, trust me, they are not happy. One world government, or the so-called New World Order, can only appear under the water law corporations operating under the copyright of the written language of the Vatican, or a total corruption of such language. And if you become the citizen or private corporation under such maritime rules of such a corporation, you are no longer a civilian of the land. You are overseas, presumed dead. You are no longer a civilian of the land. Word needs looking into. If you don't know who you are or your real name, what your rights are, etc., etc., you are assumed lost at sea, giving Rome and the crown. When we say Rome, we mean the crown of London as well, to be fair. The crown, and that hasn't been brought into it. So with what Romilly's done, mostly Gloucester to focus on, what Santos has done, what Richard Ansar's done, what we're doing at present, what others have done, who else, Franco Collins, we bring all that in now, and we DJ mix it up again. Selector. Alright, bear with. If you don't know your rights, know thyself, Santos. When I was talking to him about that, that's just like cha-ching. You are, if you don't know who you are or your real name, you will be assumed lost at sea, giving Rome, the crown and the church the right to salvage. Prince Charles, defender of the faith. Salvation, you are salvaged and plundered, your estate being your God-given dominion. But as Christ claimed, only in his name shall you be saved. You do have a Christian name for that very reason, but not when you attach your given Christian name to the foreign accounts of Rome, being the mark of the beast, all uppercase text. That's why you have the two state birthing certificates. One is the birth of the surname account, born date. We've gone through this before, and now I found something within the last 48 hours that's reinforced what I've said before differently in our own words. So again, this is why you have two stating birth certificates. One is the birth of the surname account, born date, and the other is the birth of your Christian name account, registration date. The choice is yours, creditor, debtor, but only if you are aware there is a choice. Such a choice appears in Adam and Eve's house of the debtor and the house of the creditor. Warning, in reality, if you discover the key to the fraud of the banks and the Vatican, you will come face to face with the worst type of corporate greed and the most evil of people that man has ever seen. They serve such a massive deception over the people, the mans of the world. Such people, they will go to any length to uphold such a system of deceit, and sometimes may go to extreme levels of terror in order to uphold our compliance and civil obedience to such a deception. It is not an easy road to travel, so think carefully before you enter on this road. You go down the equity, the trust, the Justinian deception, the death threats that you keep sending me. I don't care, keep sending them me, we're still doing it. we laugh at it. We are under attack, to be fair. There's a lot going off. The common law's breaking out. These kind of documents should be around years ago, to be fair. I shouldn't, an ex-DJ shouldn't be bringing this out after 10, 12 years of what's gone off, and since 2005, 18 now, so 15 years, 7 years intense. This just keeps surprising me. I keep getting slaps in the face every 2 minutes, and I've got more to come. There's more to come, but no, not yet. I'm having a break. You need to feed back on that. I'm not trying to change your faith. I'm not trying to argue with the big man creator or Lord. I believe there is a creator. I've said it. So, you know, the cross of fiction is true. It's a crusade fiction. So where we've said the cross is fiction, maybe Jesus didn't die. Maybe it was justice that's dying. Hello? Now you get me. Oh, wow. Let's just take a moment. Oh, melt. Anne-Marie, you asleep? Bless her. My missus doesn't know who I am. If any of you meet Anne-Marie, you must give her hugs and kisses. Oh. Let's do this. Let's do this, guys. Take you out your cradle. See who's in the house. I don't know if I'm staying on long. Just say hello, thank you, peace and love. Wow, alright. Wow. And there's 34. Oh, this is a subject dear to your hearts, isn't it? Dear and near, a big area of confusion. Holy grail of testamentary proportions of... I'm sorry that I've given it to you like that. I'm sorry that it has to come at this time of night and it's unprepared, and the course that we're taking. I need a cigarette, to be fair. I'm burden free. I'm going into the private. We've got some ideas now. We are not necessarily bang on with everything. We're going to reform it over 2 weeks. But what the information you've just been given in those 3 videos and the 2 documents, the third one's yet to be put up. You have just been armoured. You have just been protected. You have just been, I don't know what the correct word would be, protected, armoured, enlightened, given different options and ways of thinking. So I'd like that to hear you kick back, and I know there's some guys on here in the channels that I really need the feedback from. So the way we is, Gumshoe, Jonesy, jokes, that's what we like to see. Nice one, Gumshoe. The way we is, yeah, not the way wise, but WEIS, my sister. Thank you for coming to the conference. We had a hug. I actually met you and said thank you, give you some hugs, and you met some of the family there. So that was our honour to meet you. And now I can put a name to that, a face to that name. The way we is in German, WEIS. I've got some tracks by Weiss, something Weiss, Breach, and Deep House tracks. That's why I said the way Weiss, but I'm going to keep calling you the way Weiss, am I now? Because it's in there. But the way we is. Hello, sister. Thank you. Angela, yeah. FPV. Aha, yes, brother. Excellent mind there. This guy's doing some real good work. If you haven't checked his channel, you need to check it, and you need to have a look and see. In light of what I'm saying, between me, him, in our team, the Sovereign team, and the FPV, whatever the team is called there, I forget now. There's a few of them that do it across his channel and another. It's cracking eggs. It really is. Yeah. So good to see you. I read minds. Sorry. We do, don't we? Indigos, light workers, crystal. It's intuition. We have that ability. We have many abilities we're not aware of. Education ourselves, yeah. No university at all. Put me up against a university graduate now, and let's dance. You know, a barrister. To be fair, in some months, that's not arrogant. That's just confidence again. The system is the name. It keeps popping up. FPV. I'm sorry to. Yeah, keep going round, and it's not that I think I'm right. We can all chat about this and get it out there, but it keeps presenting itself, and yeah. Yes, number 12 again. Oh, I don't read my mind. Yes, Jonesy, bit of comedy, keep it going. Book of Enoch, yes, has divided the 12. Well done, yes, sister. Our last video, I've got to catch up FPV. I'm so excited, but I need to eat again. It's 10 to 12. I'm losing time parameters. Candle at both ends. Yes, yes, get them adverts in, that's all good, get them in. There's some excellent computer renditioning as well. I'd like to talk to you about that when we get chance. Red bill ahead, indeed. Alright, you guys getting on, let's scroll down. Just subbed, nice one. Peace and love, that's the way we do it. Gumshoe, 900, how are you doing, sister? Delving at the weekend. 100-year-old Australian history being taken over by America. How could they think no one would look into it? I mean, look at the world, it's all the same. Jonesy. Yeah. Genesis, what? Repeat it. I can't, sister, but it's there. Document is on splspro.com. It's in the Facebook group, and it will be there for a long time. I'm not going to delete or remove them, so we'll get you them. I'll email it you if you want. I'm on emails tomorrow, first thing, to hook up with Hangouts. Somebody said they want to do some Hangouts and link up, so I'll sort that. That I can, yes, indeed. You got that global fiction. Sound check, thank you, Steve. Thank you, guys. Yeah, caught that. Thank you, Gumshoe. I didn't mean to hang up on you. Just, yeah, we sorted that. Nice one. Relaxing music, that's so much better. Yeah, our lass has got the entertainment box on. Sorry about that if it came through. I love the uttering video. Amazing piece of information. Steve H. Yeah. The TV on is in the background, correct? Like the telegrams in the past. I'm loving all the new stuff at the minute. My tiny little brain is so it's alive. It needs sedation. I can't even think alcohol at the minute. I haven't had a drink for a very long time. Ooh, what's that? And it's not Egyptian. All right, yeah, we're not saying it's bang on. We're here to continue the work. It's continuously, in continuous improvement. It's the work of the creator. It's not Egyptian. All right, yeah, I know what you mean. Got those covered. 3 years I've known about the glossed over text. I've followed Romley and Roham from the original. Yes, we don't claim it's ours. I'm not going to claim something. No, we don't do that, but we will give out the respect and due. We can now use that and put it in. No one man could master this. No one mind could create it. No one mind can explain it. But a lot of our consciousnesses can. Yeah, that's what we're doing. Thank you. We made 2 videos decoding scriptures to put people. Yes, you have. And what is it telling you? Yes, so I can't get into that now, but I will do that with you on a hangout. We'll do that public if you want. We'll arrange a hangout. F and Sandra, any others, let me know, emailing, because we've got a group here that's all similar families and connections. So we could go live on yours. I'll be a guest on your channel, and then later on you can be a guest on mine, or you can come over to Indi and whichever, but let me know. That would be good. You don't need a license for a drone unless you're charging people for it. I know, it's a joke. I know, I'm just ballparking, paraphrasing, getting it out there. Curtis, hi all, Gumshoe, wow, yes. It's in the house. Don't worry about that. Look at you, I didn't mean to put Billy Sanchez twice. We know that, but you spelled but instead of put. It's all good. We're too apologetic. We don't need to be like that so much. Anne-Marie pointed out, you English, you always say sorry. Sorry. Why do we always say sorry? Yeah, but yeah, we might like pull out on someone at a junction. You want to rip their head off? No sorries then, is there? So it's we need to get a grip on it. Shout out Steve. Say 10, Jonesy echoing. Evening, Chill Stars dropped in. Aye. Thank you. N prefix to cause to be in engrave. Thank you, sister. That's agenda 21. Oh, Jesus. Alias Glosser Verperina SQ Corridoid Visera Textus Black Slow for. Oh, nice one, sister. Okay. I'm not going to go in. I'm so fried. I'm just reading the comments out of politeness and I'm cutting it short. We'll catch up again soon. Enjoy that. Can this be used as evidence in court, Dave? You're reading all this out all this loud. Yeah, you could make a video and you could use it as evidence. Anything in the public domain can be taken down, used as a transcript and used as evidence against you. It's a public cast fishing net that have cast out my net. I'm casting my net here, and I've caught some fish in my net. You are them fish. Unless I delete this, which I'm not, then it can be used. Yeah, it's an admission from me about the research of man. So this can be used in court. You get the document. You go and collect it now from the .com and Facebook. Stop looking at my top shelves. And the other one, you're missing one document, but it's all yours. It's yours, done. I used it Friday in Magistrates Court, told them I have contract with God and no man shall come between. Nice one, Steve. What happened? Going to trial. Whoa! Oh, I'm catching up though. I have gloss that eats out the vital. I have gloss that eats out the vitals of the text. And we will catch up. We'll catch up, sister, this week, okay? The whole Black's Law collection is dogged corrupt as agreed. Yeah. No, we don't. It's just to look at interpretation, to get in there, to do the inception of the inception, like what we did with Hollywood and Iron Man, and you know, these guys there with Tony Stark being Robert Downey Jr. playing him, and Elon Musk and Dave Chappelle, such things as magistrates know nothing of this. They will think you are mad. That's we need to get everything into a higher court. Oh yeah, that's the Gumshoe. Yeah. Gumshoe, yeah. But the other videos tie in with this. This is a part of a learning course. So even though it's on the tube and it's as it is now on the .com, it will be structured and it will say, watch this video. You'll click on it. I'm giving you a sneak preview, so it's going to be put into. I've done 3 now. This is going to be the finished 3rd one. 2 on Indi, 1 on splspro. All have got a curve. All have gone in a certain way, in a certain style, and you need to know more. This is the free beginners level, by the way. This isn't the hardcore level that you would need to donate in for. If you like the free stuff we're giving you, get ready for the stuff that you're going to be actually knuckling down for and partaking in the private, in your own, you know, area, website and everything, with me at the helm and Andy and some of the admins from the Facebook, Richard Ansar, the names that I've mentioned, get Santos back on, Romley, Franco Collins. What? Oh, Stern, stop it. Yeah, I know. Get ready.
Yeah, I know.
I'm so excited. We've got this talk on the Railway Institute in York on the 4th of August. If you tell me you didn't know about it, after I've mentioned it 100 times and then say I would have come, I've told you 100 times. It's not even for August yet. We're looking at how many sheriffs we've got presently, common law sheriffs in the Facebook trust at the moment. Any common law sheriffs on the channel, give me a shout, an email, a nudge. I've spoke to 2 today, and so far I think 3 or 4 in total. I'm aware there could be about 12 in the north that I'd like to utilise and talk to, and that could be at this meeting in York Railway Institute on the 4th. And if you're not, please come up and meet us and say hugs, fist bumps, and have a laugh. Yeah, they can't lock us all up. If we all stopped being civilly obedient and used a bit of what we've got now, and remained in honour, clean hands, and did it a different way, and stopped using our sweat equity and corrected like we've said or proposed in here with the understanding, they couldn't lock us all up. They could not lock us all up. You're right, not at all. But people buckle and pay, and then the rest of us go, oh, what are you doing now? Like a suicide pact and the Romeo and Juliet. Enough said, you know. Yeah, you got to go home early on a Sunday, JJ. Elias, that is quality. Woke up and didn't go into work tomorrow. Yes, Gumshoe. They tried to do that, didn't they? John Lennon, Yoko, 60s. Trapped in a room, 101's getting that. Open office. You are required, though. There's a pre-action protocol that kicks in, so you might well think you can ignore it and so forth. That's correct. You keep returning sender, whatever, but then something will come back. You know, you are required to deal with that. That's why the police go ahead helping them fit meters. You've consented and corrected the error in the grammar. It then does stand in law. Record it going back. The iron post box as well. Oh, iron the post box as well. I was just going to ask that P900, alright? I want to know how to break the blood cult they have over us. Yeah, we're getting that, Steve. See them 3 videos. We're on the .com, in the forum, on the Facebook Trust. We're going to chat about that now in groups. Alright there. Just Scottish Power will not even turn up at my door with a fake warrant again, law, especially if you put the local police inspector on notice of vicarious liability on 101. We need to chat on the phone. I've got so many questions and things I'd like to talk about when there is time and the work is less. Yes. I need to learn such a tender age. Yeah, we're all every day's education the way we is. Thank you for choosing Indi. Thank you for being in the family. Putting up my first video compared to now. We are such a good standard and quality. I've got the Oxford manual style. This stuff does matter and is the only way to go. Not binding yourself and claiming the debtor trustee. That's a scam to trap you. Yeah, thank you. There's loads saying it now. It's becoming common knowledge. We need it to become common knowledge, not secret. And when the youth need this now, it's not to be coveted. This is the free start, the free bit that we will help get out as well. And then when you've got that and you're at the minimum level, you can keep yourself safe. You can rebut. You can, protect, ring fence, know what a vested interest is, assets, agents, creditor, debtor. You need that for free. That should be at the education that we had called school. After that, when you're 18 and you're dealing with the legal office, you should be legally trained. You're not legally trained, but yet you go to a Dominion and you're there like, hey, I'm going to represent myself. I'm the lad. You represent your son, are you? No, you're not legally trained. We appoint you. What the? Yeah, we're no more. So have it, take it, work on it, perfect it, edit it, correct it, get back to me. You've got it all except one document, which is coming. I'm going to have to go back and pick this up because there's too many of you and too many comments. Thank you to the 31. The same names keep dropping up. There's a couple of new ones I'm happy to see. Jason Tomlinson, that's a new one. See, we know who you are. Curtis is reasonably new. Robert Lunn. You don't get seen very much. Thank you for coming. Jason Tomlinson. Have fun down there, blood. Yes, the regulars. Blood is thicker than water. Oh, I see, Jason. Yeah. All right, so yeah, thank you. Nearly 2 hours, love, because I went slow and calm. I took the time to greet and meet you. My tiny brain is hurting. It really is. Thank you to everybody for everything. And I'm going to be back soon. You know why I'm quiet, because these type of things take it all out of you, and this isn't my so much work. This is, I told you where it's come from. Do a search, go on, you'll find it. It's there in the public domain, and there's more, but we have to filter it. So yeah, I will catch up with you all soon. I'm going to watch some of your videos. P900, you and the gang. I'll be back soon. I did say I'd see you tonight, but there's no chance. Brothers and sisters from Indigo, thank you. I'll be in touch. I believe I've contacted everybody except the guy that wanted the account making, who sent me a £12 postal order. Where's that? Orders, postal. You got that close? No such luck. I'll make that account tomorrow. I'm sorry, I've been focusing on catching up. So, ciao bello. Peace and love. Can't do my love heart. But we will. I say goodbye from the heart. As always, thank you.